Hello, friends. I thought I'd come on this rainy Sunday to talk about something that everybody needs to know, that we have the ability to heal ourselves. And I'm going to use myself as an example and how I healed myself of Crohn's disease. So before I start, you need to know just how bad the disease was, because I'm sure there'll be people out there who say, well, my condition is much worse, so there's no way I can heal myself. Some people are out there, you have all kinds of diagnoses. I'm not saying that your doctors are wrong about what you're diagnosed with, but I'm saying that we have more potential to heal than any doctor's been taught, that we've been taught. Okay, so we're all in this together, and let's just see how many people out there can try to use their God-given tools to bring their body to balance and to its healthiest state. I had that attitude, and that's when I decided to heal from the disease that I carried. And Crohn's disease is pretty insidious. I mean, I had it bad enough so that I needed to get my entire large intestines taken out. There are very few people in the world living with 6 inches of rectum left and the rest gone, and they're doing it without an ileostomy. That's me. I had an ileostomy for about 4 months, but they reversed it. I had an amazing doctor who gave me hope when everyone else said no, and everyone else said, this is crazy, you need this ileostomy to stay permanently. You have a 97% chance of needing it again in less than 10 years. You have over a 65% chance of colon cancer, one of the worst colorectal anal cancers you can possibly get. So you really need to do this. And this one doctor said to me, Donna, if there was only a 1% chance of you not getting the disease back, you would be the 1%. You would be that one person out of 100 who could literally annihilate this condition and live your healthiest the rest of your life. She said that because she saw how dedicated to the process of healing I was. There was no sitting around feeling sorry for myself, no woe is me. I mean, I did that for a little while. But when I realized that I, in my mind and my heart, can dictate more, that I had work to do here, that I couldn't sit around being sick, that's when I really just jump-started my healing process. So I would love to tell you how I did that. And actually what not to do is probably more important. So let's start with one of the first things. No matter what the diagnoses, decide that we're going to be the healthiest we can possibly be. So that was my first gig, that I said, okay, the doctors, they know just so much. They know how to treat illness, but they don't necessarily know how to heal, okay, the body. We don't even know that. We're not taught that, but there's something that's keeping our hearts pumping that we don't understand or know about. There's something that's keeping our blood going through our veins. There's something that's holding our planet into the universe and holding us to the planet. I don't get any of that, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It doesn't mean that I can't heal myself just because we don't know a way to cure disease right now, cure Crohn's, most specifically, I should say autoimmune disease, and all the autoimmune diseases that are clumped together. So my decision was that I am going to live the best life I could possibly live. And that's whatever my body was starting to do. I thought I had more power to make it healthy if I had that attitude. Bottom line, I've learned since then, and I'm going to tell you, that our bodies will listen to our minds, okay, and do what our minds tell them to do. And our minds will listen to our souls if we allow them to. So that means that the soul can predicate what the mind is thinking, and the mind can predicate what the body is doing. And this is scientifically proven, by the way, and leave out the word soul, but there is a higher wisdom within us that can dictate the better direction for us to go in. Also can make us understand that the disease might be something that we needed in our bodies so that we can rise up and that we can heal from. All right. So the mind listening to the body listening to the mind is a scientifically proven phenomena, that when we tell our bodies what to do, it will actually react as if it's actually doing it. So if you're telling your body that your cells are rejuvenating, restoring, they're doing that. If you're telling yourself you're diseased, then you're obviously staying in that condition as well. So it's a little bit more than the placebo factor. It's well documented that the brain is our bodies are really paying more attention to what our brains are telling us they're doing rather than what we're physically doing. okay? And I can go into more detail another day about that. Okay, so number 2, don't identify with the disease, and identify yourself as healthy and healing. All right. So I hear a lot of people saying this, and I said the same thing. My Crohn's disease. Well, my Crohn's disease is saying this, or the disease is telling me that, or I have Crohn's disease, and I was basically calling myself a person with Crohn's instead of saying that I was a powerful human being with healing potential and healing ability. And that flip of the switch there, that flip in my brain, is really how things started moving along for me. And allowing the disease to dictate what I was doing every day was not healthy, but deciding that I was going to do what I needed to do for my body, which needed help at that moment, in that day, in that time, in that month, in that year, that's when everything switched. Because I realized my body wants to be healthy. It's just one tiny part of my body that was sick. And then I realized that even though it was one tiny part of my body that was sick, if I was consistently saying that I was sick, my whole body was becoming sick along with it. And it wasn't actually helping me to become healthy. The other aspects of myself, my heart, my head, all these different things that I can do were not really kicking in until I decided that the disease was just one tiny part of the process. And the rest of me had a lot more power than I was giving myself credit for. Okay, so number 3, don't believe everything you hear. Okay, it's not that doctors are wrong. They just don't know everything about the human body and mind and their potential to heal us, meaning our mind and body's potential to heal us. So it wasn't like I disregarded my doctors, although my doctors misdiagnosed me for an entire year, and that's what created the issue that I needed to get my large intestines taken out because I wasn't treated properly. And I wasn't aware of what I had, even though I was so sick. The doctor refused to believe that it could have been Crohn's. I didn't fit the profile. Okay, I didn't have a genetic predisposition for it. I wasn't the right, ethnicity. I wasn't Jewish, which they say felt in that Jewish factor. I didn't have it when I was young. I got it when I was like 48 years old. All these different things that the doctor had in his head, and refused to see how sick I was, even though every time I came in, I was like a mess. And he just thought I was a hysterical woman who didn't know what I was talking about. So believe in your own gut. Believe in your natural instincts to tell when your body is off. If you feel you've got something going on, I would meditate and pray on it and then be led to the right doctor. Okay. And then if doctors tell you that you do have a disease, don't disregard it. But say, okay, no problem. I'm healing from it. No matter what it is, no matter what my diagnosis, I'm healing from it. Not long ago, maybe about 4 years ago, I was actually doing really badly in my body. I was feeling aches and pains from head to toe, and I didn't know what was going on. And I sought out doctor's advice, and I sought out help, and it took me like 6-7 months, and I really was just getting nowhere. Every test was negative, which was good, but the same token, I couldn't do yoga. I went from like being Gumby to being the Tin Man, and it was horrendous for me. Not being able to move and feeling so sore, achy, and even in pain. So I finally found a doctor who believed I had psoriatic arthritis. And it was what really weird about it is I was sitting there. She came out of her mouth, and I'm like, who cares what the diagnosis is? I said this to myself, who cares what the diagnosis is? I'm going to heal from it anyway. I mean, she was telling me now, in addition to Crohn's, I had psoriatic arthritis, which was another autoimmune disease, which has no cure. And so I'm like, no issue. I don't know why I felt I had to get a diagnosis, but no matter what it is, I am healing. I went on a mission to do that. And guess what? I am moving freely. I have no pain. Although I am not as flexible as when I used to do yoga every day, I definitely can. I know if I would to just kick it up the yoga, I would be able to do it. So I healed up skin rashes. I healed up the negativity that was causing, all the pain and everything else. And I'm going to tell you how I did that. But first, let me just give you some of the other heads up. Okay. Here's another one. This is what I did like consistently. This is before I even understood that I was doing mantras. Mantras, by the way, means tool of the mind. So if we were to get out of the habit of saying that we're sick, we would need a mantra to flip that over. I was constantly saying, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, like over and over and over and over again, like all day long. And I didn't realize that I was literally telling myself I'm okay. And that was a mantra Now I went from there to saying, I am healthy, I am healthy, I am healthy, I am strong, I am powerful, and repeating all those. And then I came up with one that I really love that I give to all my clients. And it's, I have faith in the powers that be. I believe in me. And the reason why I say that is because there is a bigger power and force out there that we don't understand. Okay, we just don't. We can't quantify it. You can call it God. Great. I call it God, but I don't make anybody call it anything other than power. There's a power we tap into. Call it love energy if you want. Call it healing energy and potential. But we have it at our disposal. And as soon as we ask for it, as soon as we rise in that power, we get to utilize it. Okay, so by saying, I have faith in the powers that be, I believe in me, you are engaging in this bigger than you kind of force that will help you and lead and guide you to how you need to heal. And that's really important because a lot of people pray for miracles, but I got news for you. I did not see, okay, healing and health come back to me until I was willing to take on the issues that were creating the disease in the first place. So that's what's so important by doing it as a team. So the system has been put in place. Your body was created to be empowered and to heal itself. And then you, in your mind, okay, and your heart need to understand your participation in getting this disease. Now, does that mean that it's your fault? No. Is there blame? No. It's just responsibility for whatever is going on. It could be that you were drinking water that you didn't know had a poison in it that your body reacted to. It could be that you're talking on the cell phone every day and you don't realize that's creating a weakness in your body and mental issues and anxiety and all kinds of other things that you have no power over. Okay, you could have inherited a condition, that's fine, but understand that even genetics, okay, can be changed. We know this now, that it's just a blueprint and we get to change that. So by taking responsibility for the fact that you were born into a genetic predisposition just means that you're willing to say, hey, I'm going to reverse it. All right, and trust me when I tell you, I did that for myself. All right, and I'll tell you how in a little bit. Okay, so understand that there are miraculous healings all over the world every day. Why? Because people decide that they're going to be healthy, because they utilize their innate abilities to heal, and they literally reverse. Okay, are there spontaneous healings? Yes. Does people who believe in God and prayer, can there be a healing from prayer? Absolutely. But I have found that, like, the reason why we don't hear about miracles all the time and that they seem so scarce is because they would be more considered what we did to help ourselves. If it was like, okay, so if it's considered a miracle because it's some spontaneous healing and you pray and all of a sudden it happens. And then on the flip side, there's me who spent months and months and months of my life, maybe the last few years, literally reversing my conditions. Now, are we considering that a miracle? I can consider it a miracle that we were born into a body that has healing potential. I consider it a miracle that I figured out how to do it. But the point is that we consider the miraculous healing as a miracle. We consider a miraculous healing to be like profound and outstanding, but we're not considering our own ability to heal as being as miraculous. We need to start doing that. We need to understand that the miracles are always there, just sometimes we need to do stuff. And I'll tell you why. What if you did have a spontaneous healing? What if you had a condition and you absolutely prayed and next day it was gone? What if you didn't stop the behavior that was creating that imbalance and dis-ease in your body and you get it right back again? So the point is that sometimes we have to discontinue behavior or stop eating foods or stop doing or saying or thinking things, okay, that will make us sick. And this way we'll get rid of the disease and it won't be coming back. So think about that, all right? When you're praying, ask, what do I need to hear and see? What do I need to do? How do I reverse this? How do I help my body? Okay, that's what you need to be asking, and you will be led and guided. Trust me on this. Our bodies really want to be healthy. Just because they can't stay healthy doesn't mean that they don't want to be. Remember that, okay? The disease doesn't have a mind of its own. It's created in the body and the mind that it's in for a reason. We can undo what we did, all right? All right. So prayer works. It's been scientifically proven. There's been tons of studies. In fact, it's in my book, my mini book of Mighty Mantras, a couple of them. You just have to understand, and before I have to go into all the detail, because I don't want to make this an hour-long gig here on Facebook, you have to understand that what we don't know about the body and the mind is far greater than what we do know. What we don't understand about our energetic connection, about how when we send out an energy, we create electromagnetic frequencies into the atmosphere, into what they call the field, and that generates a powerful kind of resonance that will literally attract itself to some more of that resonance. So like energy attracts, as they say. So whatever space you're in mentally and emotionally as you're praying, understand that you're creating a positive force around yourself that's literally helping you, guide you into your healing mechanisms. So if you don't believe that and you just wanted to call it God, awesome. Understand that whenever you speak to God, what does it say in the Bible? Ask and it shall be given. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door will be open. So in all those things, you have to do something. You have to ask, which is prayer. You have to seek and you shall find. You need to say, what can I do? What do I need to see and hear? And then knock and the door will be open. You got to do something. You got to literally go forth, and that next step is to open that door and attempt to heal and be guided to wherever you're being told you should go. So if you're being told you got to stop eating chocolate, okay, because you have massive diarrhea and you don't know why, or you have fistulas, or you have some kind of belly issue, IBS, this and that, and you keep hearing there could be chocolate, but you're like addicted to chocolate, you don't want to give up your chocolate, blah, 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 okay? Or if it's gluten and it's pasta and it's bread and it's this and it's that, when it becomes obvious and you realize that you can put your health first, you're going to make a decision to not deprive yourself of anything. Instead, you're going to change your mind about what you want. So instead of really wanting that chocolate and depriving yourself of health, you're going to want health. So you don't really care about the chocolate anymore. But you're going to need to hear and see that. It needs to be obvious to you. You have to ask for that clarity. What is it that is making me sick? Show me. I'm willing to hear. Open my ears with megaphones. Put binoculars on my eyes and push me if you have to into my next step, because I am willing to be the healthiest I can be. And then you back that up with, I am healed. And resonate with that, like feel it. Feel what it feels like to be healthy. Maybe you were healthy when you were younger. Remember that day. Maybe you see other people doing things that you wish you could do. Picture yourself doing that. Imagine that. Don't think about what you can't do. Think about what you can do. Okay? You see, Matt, my dog is in the background. I'm so sorry if she's distracting you. Okay, Hippocrates says, let food be thy medicine. Okay, let's understand that the opposite is true. So I just said all that about food and about the potential that it's linking to disease. You need to know that a huge amount of our issues in this country are caused by food. Okay, and part of the issue with the food is not just the actual food itself, like fat or this or that, because I don't think fat is bad. Certain types of fat are bad, but I'm a true believer of grass-fed butter for the linoleic acid, or extra virgin olive oil, or coconut oil, and all these different amazing things. Our brains are 60% fat. So imagine if we deprived ourselves of fat, how we'd be thinking. Okay, plus the communication with our brain with all the other body parts. How is that panning out? Bye, Allah. So the idea is that you need to be in tune with what you're putting in your body, because your food can be your medicine, but it also can create disease and create discomfort and create everything else that goes on in our bodies. I do everything organic because pesticides add on another layer, okay? And why would we want to pay for that? That doesn't even make sense. So it's worth it monetarily. It's absolutely worth it for you to spend the money on organics, okay? And you actually will be less hungry, so you'll eat less. And think about all the junk you won't be buying. And if you want to free up some dollars in your day, think about getting rid of the bottled water and instead put in a water filter, because that's going to save you money over time. Instead of going out into Starbucks and buying coffee, make your coffee. Make it organic too, because Starbucks is filled with chemicals. How do you think it tastes the same all over the world? Because they put tons of stuff in it to make it taste like that. So you need to be more in tune with that aspect, okay? Okay, now let's talk about stress, because when it comes to disease, stress causes about 90% of it. So I want to understand something. If stress causes about 90% of our disease, then how come almost 90% of our disease is treated with drugs and prescriptions? Why is something that's being caused by stress being treated by a drug? Does that even make sense? We can ask what our disease or what our condition is being created by, or our symptoms are being created by. And then we need to be open to what we could be potentially doing or what we're exposing ourselves to every day. Now, here's the deal. Even if we have a stressful job, I'm not saying you should leave your job, okay? Because it's the way we handle our job that creates an issue. We can actually rise up in that and figure out ways to deal with our office or our business or whatever it is that we're doing. It's not necessarily that we have to walk away from everything that we deem causes us stress. We need to ask what we need to do to change how we're being affected by what surrounds us. Because let's face it, we're going to always have issues. We're going to always be around people who are, creating negativity, or we're engaging in negativity with them. There's always going to be something that we deem stressful. And hard work, by the way, is not what I'm talking about, because we can work very hard. Our bodies are meant to work really hard. I mean, after all, it wasn't that long ago that we were doing everything in our lives, from, plowing the fields and making the wheat to make bread, all the way to, getting pails of our own water, because we had no running water in our houses. So if we were doing that many years ago, and now we're doing practically nothing, I think about the fact that working hard is not necessarily creating our stress. Being in front of a computer all day could be creating physical stress. Being in a marriage that's very, very unhealthy, that could be causing a lot of stress. Or coming through a divorce. There are things that are totally legitimate that we know will be causing us discomfort and disease in the body, and we need to address the way we deal with that. Because it's going to be a time frame for you to get through your divorce, or it's going to be a time frame before you get to the next level of employment, or by the time your new raise kicks in and you can start paying your bills more easily. All those things you are thinking about right now and all worried about, anxiety, anger, fear, all of that causes stress. Is there a way to flip that on yourselves? Is there a way to just repeat more positive mantras to get yourself out of that? Ask for the ways, you'll be shown the ways, all right? And then you're going to head off more disease, A, and B, you're going to be able to help your body deal with whatever it's dealing with right now, because it wants to restore, it wants to rejuvenate, but it needs your help. Without your help, it can't do it. If you will continue to say, woe is me, and stay in the pain, stay in the woe, stay in the issue that you think that is approachable by you, or I should say that you have no power over, you have to get rid of that attitude. You have to stop that attitude, especially if you have a condition that has no real known cause. Autoimmune disease, they have been looking for a cause of autoimmune disease forever, okay? And they were not able to find a physical cause for autoimmune disease. Guess what? I was saying it all along. It's got to be emotional. If it's not physical, it could be emotional, it could be mental. Well, finally, other countries in Europe, I think Germany, started to look for the emotional causes. And then I started realizing that if all of our stress is causing us disease, why can't it be us that's literally triggering our own body? After all, autoimmune is the body fighting itself. If we're fighting ourselves, it makes sense that we could be creating autoimmune disease in our body. Now, is that to say that every single autoimmune disease is not also precursed by something else, like inheritance, genetic factors, food, and all that? No. Everything has its perfect storm going on. The idea, though, is to approach that perfect storm three-pronged. Just decide if a hurricane was caused, because hurricanes are out to sea all the time, but why would they come into land and cause so much destruction? Well, you need the perfect balance between the temperature of the air, the temperature of the land, and the temperature of the water, okay? Then a hurricane can be created. So if you think about that in your body with disease, your mind and your heart, your mental state and your emotional state, okay, with your physical state, with your surrounding atmosphere and your environment, all of those things are coming together to create disease in your body. Decide you have power over maybe all of them, or at least some of them, and start picking at it. Literally pick at it like a scab and say, hey, I'm going to come through this. I'm going to see which ways I can change, what I can do to help myself, how high I can rise. And this is how we start lifting. We feel empowered, we will be empowered. All right? Just keep saying that to yourself. And don't give up hope no matter what. All right? Never give up hope. And hope, Joe Dispenza says hope is a killer, but it could get you to belief. So if, as long as you're taking hope as a springboard or a bridge to get to belief, then you'll stay in that belief, then you need it. Because like I said, there's been people who've healed themselves of every single disease and condition in the entire world. There are people out there. So if they can do it, we can do it. That's what I kept saying. All right. All right. This is so important. I need to tell you this, and then I can try to go into some of the ways that I help myself. Don't hate the disease. I'm sorry, I'm reading off of the teleprompter here. Don't hate the disease. Okay. The disease is a part of us, and it needs our help. If we want to surrender to it, if we want it to reverse it, so I'm sorry, having the disease surrender itself or having it reverse itself, we can't hate it. We need to understand it. And I would go to the point where we need to say we love it. And I did this a few years back when I had no Crohn's symptoms or flares for like 7 years, and all of a sudden I had a major flare. I had 3 traumatic events in my life, one right after the other, and boom, I got sick. And it took a lot. It took tremendous events to get it there, but it still happened. And I decided to go online, and instead of looking for, treatments and this and that, I went on to, I think it was Gaia TV, and I saw countless videos about people who healed themselves. That's what I started getting addicted to. Listening to other people who cured themselves, healed themselves, stuff with brain tumors, cancer, you name it, they had it. Even Parkinson's disease, I believe. And so when I kept listening to what they were saying, there was something consistent about it. Their mind frame and belief that they were healed, that the state of being they were in wasn't their future. It was just this moment in time, but they were actually healed. 2, they loved their disease. They loved that part of the body and decided not to hate it. So when we say hate cancer or screw cancer or Crohn's or whatever it is that we're saying, it's literally a part of our body that we are hating and rejecting. Now, how, all right, I rejected it to the point where I lost it, the entire large intestines, okay? It's gone. So I know when the second that I had that 6 inches of rectum left, that's all I had. And when I was diagnosed again, the threat was, this is it. You need your permanent ileostomy. Okay, you got to sew up your anal, hole and opening. This sounds graphic and gross, but this is the case, and you're gonna have a bag on your belly for the rest of your life. Either that, the other side was, well, we can try drugs. We can try Remicade. We can try Humira. These are lifelong drugs, by the way, that cause other diseases like tuberculosis and cancer and leukemia and all kinds of other things. Okay, so those are my choices. And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to give myself a couple of months to really get through this and try heal on my own. And I did. I started out by loving, and I told you, listening to all those videos, I said, okay, I've got to love my body. I've got to love my organ. I've got to love this disease. You know how hard that is to actually say to your cancer or to your Crohn's or to wherever it is, and I'm saying your, because at that moment it is ours, because we're identifying with, and we're like, I love you. I love you, my 6 inches of rectum, and I would picture this inside my body. I love that you are part of me. I am sad that you don't feel well, that you're uncomfortable. I want to know how I can help you. I love every part of my body, what you're teaching me. I love that I can rise up and do something for you. This is the kind of vocabulary I had, and I kept with it. Now, juxtapose this, okay, with the idea that I was consistently eating the best foods. I was literally putting in what's called kachari, like eating it like 3, 4, 5 times a week or more, sometimes a few times in a day. And that is an Indian recipe, India meaning India, that is a healing for intestinal disorders and all that. I was so sick, but I still was sitting in my garden, even if all I could do was pull weeds while I was sitting down. I was barefoot, barehanded, and got connected to the ground, like every day, as many hours of the day that I could. I was too sick to really work, so this is all I could do. I meditated and prayed every single day. I did my prayers and my mantras. I am healthy. And at first, I was like not really believing it, so I would say, I am healing. I am healthy, I am restored. So I started with the, I am healing, because it made me feel like it was truthful. And that led me into the I am healed, I am restored. So these are just things that I did all day, every day, in addition to watching Joe Dispenza nonstop and Greg Braden and all the people that tell us the ability we have to heal. The science is showing it. The prayers are scientifically researched and are, legitimate. So this is how we were made. And I kept thinking about that. I kept thinking about if we're created, if you want to call it God, great. If we're created by God or power, the system that is giving us, a heartbeat 120,000 times per day, and we don't have to do a thing about it, it's just doing it, then imagine that our body, who's giving itself the time and ability to restore itself and has an immune system and has all these other things. Just because my immune system was a little awry doesn't mean that it doesn't want to be back to normal, be healthy. Doesn't mean that I have to live with pain, with inflammation, with suffering, everything else. There's plenty of stuff out that's already been created by the earth that I can utilize. And I was utilizing herbs. I was utilizing herbs that have been tested, by the way, I'm going to get it for you. Don't go anywhere. Okay. Herbs that have been tested clinically and did better than the horrendous Remicade and Humira that we go on. This actually did better than some of the other drugs. Now, why aren't they prescribing this? I don't know. You guess, okay? Because there's no money in it, most likely. So the point is that I went on natural herbs, and then it got myself involved with essential oils, and that was helping my body to heal. Sticking with all natural foods, sticking with being connected to nature as much as I could, going out and buying EarthCom products, which sorry to say the customer service sucks, but if you can deal with that, you can get your information online. You can buy them, EarthCom, and I have protection on. I had it on both ankles, but now for the case of showing, here it is. It's on my wrist, okay, and which was helping me stay more connected to the earth rather than having to deal with electromagnetic frequencies, which I'm sure were weakening me. Then I went to getting a pillowcase that you plug into the grounding outlet. It's a grounding pillowcase. So I sleep with that. So my head is essentially, it's connected to the earth. Yeah, this sounds all crazy. It sounds like a lunatic lady, but this lunatic lady healed herself. I have no Crohn's symptoms. I deal with a little bit of symptoms from not having a large intestines, but that's totally different, okay? And I actually prayed since then for my large intestines my small intestines to take over the function of my large intestines. And to a degree it has. So I have changed the course of my life, the course of my days, because I was in the bathroom no less than 10 to 14 times a day. And now I'm almost like a normal person. I can say that, I don't spend my life in a bathroom or racing to find one. Okay, or scared that there isn't one, because that would be the first thing I do wherever I went, scope out where the ladies' room was. So that issue with anybody who has Crohn's knows the pain, the urgency, the rashes. It's on and endless. Okay, but as long as I eat healthy, and I know what my body can have and not have. I did the meditation and the prayer, and I sought out what my issues were, and I stick to that. I love my body. I take care of it, and I understand what the Crohn's was for me, because when I meditated and prayed on why I had Crohn's, I was led to that understanding. For me, my specific issue was basically being everybody else's coach except for my own, for not listening to my gut, for allowing myself to deal with needless stress of the heart, okay, where you're being constantly hurt by others, where you're allowing yourself to be hurt by others. That was my stress disorder, okay, and that's what created the Crohn's within me. So when I flipped that on myself, and then I thanked the condition, I thanked it for visiting me for a short while in my life and for letting me know what I was doing, because you know what? What's the next step after disease? That's death, okay? And I still knew I had work here. And that was another thing that I did. I realized that the work I had was so important, and it would require me to have a lot of energy. So it didn't make sense that I was supposed to stay unhealthy, tired, and sick. It didn't make sense. It's like, I have a job to do here. I got to keep going. I got to be strong. Then I've got to rise to this. I've got to figure it out, because I have a whole entire public that I have to educate. And that gave me superpowers, I got to tell you. Having that goal with that motive attached really launched me. I was hearing so clearly everything I needed to do. And now, of course, that I've done this, And it's been 3 years, 4 years. It's been a total for me of 10 years that I've had the Crohn's diagnosis. I think it was, well, actually, it's 11 years. They gave me no hope. Truly, all those doctors said no. Said, you are definitely going to get this back. You are almost proof positive you will need the full-time ileostomy bag permanently. 65% or more chance you're going to have that cancer. And so those are the words that I had to deal with and listen to in my head. Now they do nothing to me, but I can say them to you just to show you and let you know that my condition was grave. I almost died from it once in the hospital, okay, because I had lost so much blood. I literally had half the blood I needed to live. And I laid in bed, and I laid in bed dying, and I knew I was dying because I literally said, God, take me, because I don't even want to be here if this is what life is going to be like. And I had an outer soul experience. I've talked about it before on Facebook Live. And I was led and guided to believe that it wasn't my time, that I needed to rise up. And when I got to the hospital, the doctor said that if I would have literally bled one more incident, I wouldn't have made it, okay? Because there was nothing left in me. I mean, they didn't even know how I was getting to the hospital the way I did. I couldn't barely breathe. I couldn't speak because, you know, you need your oxygen in order to be able to speak. I had nothing in me, no iron will either. So no iron will. Not wanting to be here definitely was my key. Get me out of here now. But when that soul came to me, okay, in a voice that was, you know, proof positive, being told, this is not your time, you need to get up, you need to move. I called my son, come pick me up, I need to get to the hospital. And that's exactly what happened. So listen, I know everybody's going to have an outer soul experience, but you never know. You might be having it now. You might be listening to this because your soul absolutely told you, get going. Stop woe is me. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop thinking that this is it for the rest of your life. This is not. This is just one moment in time that you have allowed yourself to think that it's too overwhelming to face, or that you cannot face it, or that it's impossible to face. When I'm here to tell you that that's not true. Get on Gaia TV, G-A-G-I AI, is that, or G-I-A, whatever, Gaia, okay, look it up, TV, you'll find it, I'm sure. And just start looking at all of those, the science that's in, look at all the people that have healed themselves. Get online and search out, I healed myself of cancer, I healed myself of this. I'm not talking about the people who are trying to sell you something, okay, because I would never necessarily trust them. Trust people like me. I'm not trying to sell you a thing, although I would like, if you want my book, that would be great. It's $9.99 on Amazon, or $2.99 for the download. Or if you live close to Long Island, I'll get you the book, okay? We live close together, we'll meet. So get in touch, and if you need more information, but you need to right now, today, believe that no matter what shape you're in, you have more power than you understand. That doesn't mean that you don't have the power, it just means you don't get it yet, all right? Today you get it. Today you can start investigating. Today you can start lifting up. I promise you that you will never, ever look back on this day again and believe that you don't have any power. You will believe from this moment on, okay? And I thank you so much for listening. You need me, Donna at DonnaMartini.com. Talk to you soon.